little bit different to Europe and to North America, and they play different things, they test different things.
Lots of these players qualified with some pretty wild decks.
When you compare the Americas to sort of Europe in general, that even though these players all came from 4 different countries as well, their lineups are so similar.
So looking at the EU participants, we have 5 players that are all very big names. In this case, not really any surprises.
I think they have a player base that is the most efficient at like figuring out the meta and essentially finding the best lineup.
It definitely seems like in any given social circle, people have kind of congealed on roughly one strong set of lineups, or like one strong set of decks.
I would say if there's one like simple way to define like how each meta looks like in every region is, I see a lot of creativity in Asia, I see a lot of diversity in North America, and I see a lot of like refinement from Europe.
There's no amount of luck or chance in the world that could get you a spot in Worlds. It's 100% just skill and dedication.
That's the most exciting thing about this tournament for me. Just the fact that we're finally gonna see all these amazing names added together, and there's no walls in between, and it's just, we're gonna see who the best player actually is in the world, and that's super hype.
will go by under the moonlit sky. It's the feeling, yeah, it's the feeling. Sun-kissed and having fun, oceans and summer sun. It's the feeling, yeah, it's the feeling. We know what ain't gonna change, yeah, we know the stars will never fade. We'll never walk away, make this our real life, just you and me, right where
players have been competing to be the best in their region. The top 16 have made it into the World Championship, in which they'll compete for the title of Legends of Runeterra World Champion. Starting today, those top 16 competitors from all over the world are going to battle it out for a piece of the $200,000 prize pool and a shot at becoming the Legends of Runeterra World Champion. The wait is over and the competitors are ready. So stay tuned here with us so you can be the first to find out who becomes the Legends of Runeterra World Champion. Hello everybody and welcome to the Legends of Runeterra World Championships. My name is Nekra and I'm going to be your host for this incredible 3-day event where we're kicking it off with day number 1, groups A and B. But I am not alone. I have an incredible team of casters that are going to be taking you through all of the action. So let's go ahead and welcome them in and let them introduce themselves.
All right, well, I'm Casanova. I'm so excited to be here. I've been covering the grassroots scene for Legends of Runeterra for the past 20 months, waiting for our first World Championship, and I could not think of a better crew to be doing this with. I'm so stoked to be here.
I am also so excited to be here. Hi, I'm Amy the Amazonian, and I'm really excited to watch the best of the best from around the world play against each other today.
Hello everyone, my name is Skarzig. I'm super excited to be here. This is the pinnacle of Legends of Runeterra competition so far, and it's just going to keep getting bigger and better. I'm really excited to be here with this all-star crew, and personally, I'm also very proud of our competitors today.
Hi there, I'm Mogwai, and I am just here to crown the next European World Championship, and really happy to be here in the process, so just here for the drama.
Hello guys, I'm Bezos Panda, and I agree with Mogwai. I think there will be a European champion. I'm happy to be representing Europe on the broadcast team as well, alongside Mogwai, and very excited for all of the matches today and throughout the rest of the tournament. It's going to be very exciting.
Hey, I'm Pastry. This is not my first Worlds, although this is my first Worlds for this game, so I am used to the Europeans being very excitable at the very early stages of the tournament, but best of luck to all the competitors here. Super excited to cover Legends of Runeterra.
Hey guys, what's up? It's your boy, Swimothy. And yeah, I'm just really excited to be here casting with my good friends and casting the single biggest tournament Runeterra has ever seen, and rooting for the players in Americas, of course.
Well, you've heard it from all of our casters, and you're going to hear from all of them more today. We're going to say goodbye to them for now, but we're going to say hello again to Casanova and Amazonian. Casanova, I mean, this is just going to be an incredible event.
Yeah, I'm so excited. Amy and I are here to bring the they-them-ergy to the early stages of this event. I'm looking forward to it. I just can't wait.
Oh, you get to wake up with us. Yeah, you know what? We're the morning people, and we're here to wake you up with some of the freshest Runeterra you've ever seen. Some of the finest card games ever.
Yeah, we've got a ton of action that we're going to cover today, but let's go ahead and talk about exactly what that means. Our format for this weekend, it is a 3-day event where we're going to be covering groups A and B today, groups C and D tomorrow, and then our top 8 players will be competing in a finals bracket on day number 3. But Amazonian, why don't you tell everybody about how these groups are going to work?
So, as you just mentioned, there are 4 different groups. Today, Thursday, Group A and B will be playing, and they only play within their own group. This is a round-robin format, which means everybody in their own group plays against each other. So in Group A, you've got WhatAmIXX, Artefy, Badge Attack, and Real Key. And in Group B, Aikaro, Ping Ping Ho, Tosimo, and How to Die. So Group A we're going to be seeing, and Group B we'll be seeing today.
Yeah, we've got the group stages early on, but then once we get through that, we make our ways to the finals. It's going to be a top 8 single elimination. We'll get the top 2 players from each and every one of these groups coming to day number 3, the final day where we will play that single elimination best of 3 bracket to crown our very first Legends of Runeterra World Champion.
Let's go ahead and talk also about the prizing that these players are going to be competing for. We've got $200,000 of prizing from first place to 16th. So everybody's going home with a little bit of something, or a lot of something if you are the world champion. But this is going to be so exciting. I think that we have an incredible group of competitors, and we're gonna see a ton of amazing action when it comes down to all 3 days. But that's not all these players are competing for. We mentioned that this is the Legends of Runeterra World Championship, and one player will be walking home with the title of World Champion, and they're also walking home with something else. Let's go ahead and pull up that trophy, and Amazonian, give us your thoughts on this beautiful masterpiece.
Oh, look at that sparkle. You've really got the card feeling because, of course, Legends of Runeterra, it's not just part of the League of Legends universe, it's its own beautiful game with cards. And this really captures both the aesthetic of the game. You have these beautiful edges, you've got the crown jewel in the middle. Love to see it. Casanova?
I mean, the money's nice and all, but the prestige and the beauty of having the trophy of the Legends of Runeterra World Championship, the one and only so far, getting that first one, I feel like is going to be such a great honor for one of these players. A deserved honor, and I'm so excited to see who that will be that gets to take this home at the end of the week.
We're gonna have all of that and more, but there's also something for you viewers that are watching all of the action. You can get exclusive drops from watching this stream all 3 days, and also make sure that you tune in today and tomorrow to be eligible to collect a unique card back and player icon. And then in the finals, of course, there is that exclusive fist bump emote when you know you've got your game on. But, you know, Casanova, this is an incredible format where we got 3 days of competition. What are you kind of most excited or looking forward to for this weekend?
I am really looking forward to the fact that this is the biggest tournament we've had with multiple regions coming in, and looking at an early look at some of the deck lists that people have brought. The different regions have pretty distinct metas. They have some big power picks that the regions are liking in particular. The Americas loving Zoe Nami, seeing a lot of Sivarakshan in EU. We've got a lot of difference between these 3 regions, and seeing which meta comes out on top is the biggest takeaway for me, the biggest thing I'm excited about this week.
Well, we have 16 incredible players that are going to be competing in this 3-day event. Let's go ahead and bring them up. And Amazonian, who are you kind of looking out for?
Well, I've got a lot of favorites here. And as a streamer myself, you know I'm rooting for my fellow on-camera friends. We've got Alan and Majin Bay up here. And, of course, you've got What Am I, who are actually going to be seeing play today in just a few minutes. Very excited about that match. And Shichu tomorrow as well.
Yes.
I am personally very excited for Pimping Ho. I think he's been one of the best, if not the best, representative out of SEA all year. Making it to the top 16 is going to be awesome. I got to represent for the North American homies too, though, with or just the Americas homies in general, with Real Key, What Am I, looking forward to them. But you can't forget, there's another one. You know, Amy might have mentioned him, but, you know, you can call him Majin, but your girl calls him Bay. Think you're tough, but hush, all he needs is his death ray. Majin Bay coming in to the World Championships, representing North America with some of the best results of any America's player. Majin is someone to look out for sure.
Oh, we are absolutely Majin Bay stands on this team right here. I am here for it. When he called his shot in one of the seasonals and was like, I'm going to win it. And then he did. I remember I was casting that seasonal and I was in the chat. I was like, I think we should watch him. I think he's the one to follow. He said he was going to win and then he did it.
I think the EU casters might have something to say about that one, but we're going to get their thoughts a little bit later. We've got Group A, game number 1, which is going to be between What Am I and Artefy, and we have got some thoughts from What Am I, so let's go ahead and listen to that interview.
Hey, my name is Jordan. My gamer tag is What Am I? I have been playing Legends of Runeterra basically since the beginning of the game. On a tournament day, I can play, as many as 10 or 12 hours. Balance in all things, including games, is important. What's the toughest deck to go against? I mean, Nami is a little bit ridiculous right now, not gonna lie. If I had to choose a favorite archetype, it would definitely be the powerful mid-range target piles where just you're making decisions along every single point in the game. Getting to the top 16 of Worlds is absolutely mind-boggling for me. I kind of feel like I've already won, because anyone who's gotten here is ridiculously good. How would I feel to win an LOR World Championship? It would probably be one of the coolest moments of my entire life, if not the coolest moment. Good luck to everybody out there.
I mean, you heard it from What Am I feel like Zoe Nami is definitely going to be a hard deck to play against. And Casanova, you were just mentioning that that could be a tournament favorite for this weekend.
I think that especially for the Americas players, they all really like this list. It is the most popular deck out of the Americas in this event. But I just want to talk about Jordan a little bit. What am I? He's such a good player. He's been such a good community figurehead, and he has continued to push the meta of the game for so long. And on top of that, he's so humble. He comes in and he says all the time, he says, it doesn't matter about winning. What matters is playing a beautiful game. He's going to come here today. He's going to play his beautiful game. He's going to play his best. And if the cards all line up, we know he's not going to make too many mistakes, and he has a good shot of going all the way to the final day.
I think that definitely sums it all up. But I mean, like Amazonian, you heard it from him that 10 to 12 hours is how long he plays this game. I feel like that gives him a lot of practice coming into this World Championship.
Yeah, he's definitely run his rounds, and I think that he's practiced the decks he's bringing today quite a bit. I actually listened to an interview with him, a longer interview last night. It was on the Mastering Runeterra podcast, where he talked about how he actually tried to find a different set of decks, a bunch of burn decks to bring today. He couldn't quite nail in the deck lists in time, and I think he's actually going to find that his choice to go with the 3 decks he chose today, not triple burn, were the right ones, because he has a fantastic lineup coming in today.
Well, we're going to be covering Group A, game number 1 between What Am I and Artefy. And Amazonian, I'm just going to let you go ahead and take it away with those deck lists.
Oh, absolutely. So, both players have brought some sweet decks, and we're going to talk about What Am I's first, because What Am I brought 3 of my favorites, and you might recognize these deck lists from the last few weeks. You have Lulu Poppy, but it's not just any Lulu Poppy, it's Yordles in Arms. That's right, this is a deck which is allowing you to go fast and hard and make all of your little Yordles absolutely massive for a final swing. We also have a discard mid-range deck here. I'm sure you've all seen Scion recently. He's my favorite 3/3 mini T, but this is a hard deck to deal with because it generates so much value. This new suite of cards where you discard and you end up getting another card in your hand really adds to this archetype. And of course, Zoe Nami. You cast a spell, you make your elusive creatures bigger, and you swing in for a lot of damage.
Yeah, on the other side, What Am I is going up against Artefy, and Artefy actually has a fairly similar lineup to What Am I. He does have the Draven Scion, he does have the Lulu Poppy with the rallies as well, right? Very similar list. But the one difference is going to be this TFGP with Bandle City, or called Ping City, as Impetuous Panda has been calling it. It's got a lot of different pings with the Make It Rains, the Pokey Sticks. And the big difference here is the Americas has a lot of Zoe Nami. We see What Am I bringing that a lot. Really, just What Am I thinking that those are the 3 best decks right now. On the other side, in Asia, we see this deck be a little bit more common. It's one of the top 2 decks that's being played at the moment for the Asia competitors. And Artefy also going for a similar strategy of just bringing the 3 decks he feels are the strongest, and that includes this TFGP Bandle City list.
Yeah, so you're seeing a slight difference on the graphic here. That is not actually a Lulu. You can't have 2 Lulus in your different decks here. And this deck, by the way, if you thought that it was hard to trigger Plunder, this deck really proves otherwise. You are dealing damage to your opponent in virtually every round.
Yeah, it's able to proc those plunders so easily, and I do think that that is going to be important for What am I to have to play around to prevent those plunders when possible, keep the GP level up from happening too swiftly. But what they both do have is Draven Scion. We are going to look at What Am I's variation of this list, a bit more mid-rangey overall than we've seen in the past from a couple of these Scion lists. We do have the full suite of Lost Souls, full suite of Scions. We have a survival skills tossed in there as well, and the Aloof Travelers, trying to make sure that you can set up to discard some of the win conditions of the other lists. But this is an incredibly powerful deck, utilizing the discards from the Draven. The key that you have to look out for is getting that Draven on 3 and then setting up the infinite value train that is Lost Soul. This card is going to be dominant throughout the competition, not only in Draven Scion, but also in Draven Caitlyn and Draven Ezreal. Lost Soul is a big card to be watching throughout this event.
Oh my goodness, what a great card. It functions as a way to refill your hand and as removal of this challenging unit that you let die. It ends up back in your hand. You discard it again. You end up playing it. You remove something. It's a loop. It's fantastic. Yeah. And it's great against the meta because if you need to, let's say, take out a Nami, you can.
Yeah, and we have to watch out for that matchup in particular of the Draven Scion from Artefy going up against the Zoe Nami from What Am I. I wanted to touch on What Am I's lineup a little bit more as well, because What Am I has always been known for bringing kind of these off-kilter strategies. He played Endure for like 4 additional months after it was completely out of the meta and no one else was playing it, and he took it to top cuts in the seasonal. After that, he played in back-to-back seasonals, qualifying into the top 32. He played triple Targon lineups with 9 times star shaping, and then finally has started playing some lineups where once Targon got nerfed, he said, hey, I just need to play the 3 best decks, and it's been still working out for him, showing that he's not just someone who can bring a gimmick and win with it. Instead, he can just bring 3 powerful lists and have the same result. But we're looking at the bans here, Amy. Zoe Nami off the table, and it looks like it's going to be the Poppy Rally off the table as well.
Definitely some good choices here for bans. That Zoe Nami deck, hard to get around unless you are really built to defeat it. It is a tricky deck, and of course this Poppy deck is just brutal to play against because it will swing for lethal on the Nexus very often, like turn 5. Turn 5, just game's done.
Yeah, you have to really play it around the rallies. It is a timing attack. You want to set up those boards where you can find those rallies or multiple rallies in a row, utilize the Lulu to push that extra damage. And What Am I gets to play this list, right? It's available because the Zoe Nami acted as ban fodder. This is a big thing that I expect the strategy in bringing that deck has been for a lot of the Americas players, is they think, hey, people do not want to get high rolled by this. They are going to ban it, and I get to play 2 very strong decks. What Am I is going to be very happy playing Lulu Poppy Rally and Draven Scion across the course of this matchup, and that's a pretty good starting hand to kick things off. Fleet Feather Tracker into 2-drop is always going to be very nice.
Zonite Urchin also leading the charge here with the first discard of a Lost Soul. That really helps power up Scion. Scion, of course, does level up when you've discarded and summoned a certain power. And each time you loop through that Lost Soul, you are ticking ever higher towards that leveled up Scion. He is almost always leveled by the time you can play him. In fact, I don't think I've ever seen a non-leveled Scion hit the battlefield.
Oh, no, I've never seen it happen. Absolutely 0 times for me, but we do have the Twin Blade Revenant chain already starting up for Artefy. It's going to help him curve out so nicely into that turn 4 attack with that 4 damage challenger hitting the board. He'll be able to deal with this potential future Lulu that we're seeing in What Am I's hand, and Artefy has a lot of good early game to deal with those attacks. What Am I's going to have to navigate this relatively safely and try and make sure he can find opportunities to get control of the board and try and win with that Yordle in arms we see in hand.
So here is a Yordle, our favorite. It's Lulu. She loves to support her friends. And when she supports, she turns her supportee, is that what you'd want to call it, into a 4/4, which is great for this Fleet Feather Tracker. It is now just able to swiftly remove the baboon. No monkeys allowed. Or I guess apes?
Yeah, no monkey business, says What Am I, wanting to get rid of the Boom Baboon, or the Boom Buino, if we're looking at the Portuguese client. But we do have just a good early setup for What Am I, trying to find full board control. I like holding back that Bright Steel Protector. You are holding on to this Yordle in Arms and to this Ranger's Resolve, there's good odds that you're going to be able to find an opportunity to get value out of those and get more value out of your units. But there is a bit of a punish here. That is going to be a rummage, bringing in that Reborn Grenadier at burst speed, allowing it to block, takes down the Lulu, and that's going to be very tough for What Am I, as he's already running a little bit low on steam. We do pick up the second Lulu. I think that's incredibly impactful for trying to continue this pressure and set up for this Yordle in Arms to actually get a lot of value, because Artefy so far has been able to deal with the board, has good setup with the Lost Soul discard, and has plenty of gas to continue to crank up this Scion and set up for his own offensive once we get around to turn 7.
Reborn Grenadier there, acting as a removal spell with the burst speed discard, because that way there's no way to stop it from coming out here. It's a 3/2, you just swung into it, and there's no Ranger's Resolve, no one spell mana, so you just end up losing the Lulu. Thankfully, What Am I does have a spare in hand, but it's going to be hard to swing in safely at this point.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much value generation on the side of the Draven Scion. We look at the cards in hand, and every card either wants to be discarded, and so it can facilitate a draw, or it's going to create another card in some capacity, minus the Noxian Fervor and the Scion, but still, those are high value cards in general. Because of this, What Am I has what he has in hand and what he can top deck, and if Artefy can deal with it, What Am I will run out of steam while Artefy continues to replace what he is putting down, especially with this Lost Soul Twin Blade Revenant combo continuing that infinite value train. If this game continues on and on, Artefy will win every time. What Am I has to find openings to start to push damage.
It's not looking good right now, especially because we do in hand. A little bit of Noxian Fervor, also quite good at killing Lulu.
Yeah, it can help kill Lulu, does deal that 3 damage. Now, we do, of course, have the Ranger's Resolve, which is a rather nice answer, but the amazing thing that you also get out of this Twin Blade Revenant is you're cool with it dying, because you can just discard the Lost Soul again. So it's a great target to use this Fervor on if you have an opportunity to do so, to try and get even more value. Artefy, I do love their position that they're currently in. The mulligan went great with being able to have that Lost Soul and some discard fodder, but we are going to see the Smith as the thing that is the most important to clear away. This plays around Ranger's Resolve. It protects the board and allows it to trade, because if Artefy trades down across the entire board, he is in a winning position.
So there goes the Yordle Smith, so no more quick attack for Lulu and her friends here. That is going to make a swing in here a little bit tougher, because it means that there's not a great way to protect all of the board. Again, the Ranger's Resolve can save Lulu from being blocked by the baboon here, but something is going to give.
Yeah, and if you have to expend that Ranger's Resolve only to protect the one unit, it will be rough. It does look like there will be a good amount of value on this Ranger's Resolve with 2 of the trades if the Zonite Urchin goes for the block. But again, Artefy still has great refill in hand, and even if some of these trades don't go his way, I think he can rematch the board with the mana on the following turn. The attack token will be his, so he has time to develop, and overall, this situation does not feel very good for the side of the Yordle in Arms. I think What Am I really needs to find some key cards like rallies to try and put the pressure on and force Artefy to get uncomfortable or not have enough time to reset up this board.
So here comes the Ranger's Resolve, giving tough. That means they're going to take 1 less damage from each sword. So we see Lulu's health still at 1, not dead yet. And look at that Nexus health. We've got 13 versus 18 right now. And of course, this being a very mid-rangey build for discard, the pressure will be put on starting now. Now and the next turn, once it's Scion's time to shine, and that's not a bad
It's a good draw. It's a good draw, because you need to protect this Lulu so that you can try and set
keeps her
up.
alive. But also, it doesn't win. Keeps you alive, but it doesn't win.
You want to keep this Lulu alive to try and set up for a rally play with this elusive. The problem is if you commit this Bright Steel Protector to defend Lulu, this Twin Blade Revenant just gets to eat up the elusive and you no longer have a threat to end the game. So it feels like you have to protect the Lulu, but you need to top deck another elusive in order to really find a way to get enough pressure, because Artefy is just going to gobble up this Vandal Commando and WhatAmI has no threat.
I'm looking at Artefy's list right now, and there's actually something spicy that I missed on the first pass. It has indirect ways to finish the game. Between the Get Exciteds, which work great as unit removal, and what's this? Decimate? There are Decimates in this list, too.
He is running the Decimate, which is a very strange tech choice. It's not something you normally see in the Draven Scions, and just in general, he has a lot more burn than we see in a lot of other variations. It's a much more aggressive variant with the full suite of Reborn Grenadiers, and because of that, it's allowed him to get on board a lot earlier with a lot more 1 and 2 drops than other versions of this deck do run. And because of that, you know, the flood strategy from WhatAmI has not been able to find the victory, but we do have the Yordle in arms. We've got a full board. This might be enough for WhatAmI to gain control. And if he can find a rally off of that, he might be able to finish the game. Scion's going to come down. He is leveled up and look for the rally, but WhatAmI does have a small window of opportunity if he can go from this one attack with Yordles in arms and then find a rally on the next turn.
I am hoping so. So here we go. The board is full. That Tenor of Terror did bring in the base of Burden, and they're going to sing in all together now. And of course, Lulu is not going to be growing anybody any bigger. They're already plenty huge thanks to that Yordles in arms, giving +4/+4 because there were at least 4 different regions summoned from on WhatAmI's side of the field. So now, of course, Scion dying does rally and bring out a spooky attacker, but at 18 Nexus health, WhatAmI is not dead to that Scion.
Yeah, this is big because WhatAmI is not dead to the Scion and he gains full board control. And now I've mentioned, Artefy does have great ways to refill the board. He's going to have a lot of units to put down, but because he's not able to actually clear any of these units on these trades except for the Lulu with the Scion, it starts to open up bigger opportunities for WhatAmI, especially if he can pull a rally off the top. There won't be enough time for Artefy to fully develop, and WhatAmI might be able to sneak around and get enough damage in to finish the game.
What this feels like is when you're playing Scion in League and you die, and with your final breath, you chase after the opponent. You're trying to claw your way into getting a kill, but they're actually a little faster than you. They have a dash, so they just kind of, you know, dip away from you, and you feel bad.
Okay, this line is really smart from Artefy. I like keeping back the Twin Blade Revenant so that when you rally, you actually get to remove another unit. You wouldn't have been able to remove things, but this gives you an opportunity to do so. You get rid of the base of Burden, which is the highest damage threat that you have to you, and now you have ways to try and protect yourself against the rally. You can play something on first action, and then you have a way to discard a Reborn Grenadier. You can get enough blockers, and that top deck is terrible from WhatAmI. That is not helping at all.
Oof. Yeah, right now, that is just a 2-1, especially when you don't have something to follow up with. It can't challenge. There's no attack token. That's not the draw. And, of course, this deck does have quite a few rallies in it. I want to say it's running 5. 3 Relentless Pursuits, 2 Golden Aegises, none of them in hand.
Yeah, did not find the rally that was needed. The rally might not have even been enough, considering that Artefy has these Reborn Grenadiers that he can get out with another unit at the same time discarding it. It's incredibly strong for Artefy. This position is becoming so safe. The only potential ways to lose are really some elusive over the top, but the elusives are so weak they need buffs. You need multiple card combos, and the Fleet Feather Tracker might have been the draw that seals this game 1 for Artefy. I love killing the impact unit. Do not let it through, and you can continue to just protect as much as you need. Fallen Rider, you don't need the discarded version. You just need blockers. You need to keep your HP alive. You're against Demacia. They don't go over the top that well. It should be so safe, but Loping Telescope.
Oh,
wait a minute.
Okay, what is it? Okay.
There's a stun.
stun. Double
he found a
stun
second
sounds pretty
Loping?
strong.
He found a second loping. I didn't notice. He's going to go for another.
Just go wide and believe in the heart of the manifest.
See if you can find an answer. Devourer. That's not do it, but another
loping.
Another loping. You
Oh
can
my
keep
goodness.
looking.
So almost every card that lets you pick between three cannot find itself. But Loping Telescope is like, nah. How many of me
What is
do
it?
you think we've got?
There's a charger that's an overwhelm, but that might not be enough. Darkness deals 2 to all, but you can't play it. Destinata.
Can't play it
He does take
this
it.
turn.
He does take it. This is going to remove a lot of the board. It might set up for What Am I to actually find a way back in. The looping telescopes coming through for What Am I, trying to find opportunities back. And you see Artefy's face. He's like, oh no, that does not look good.
Yeah, you play an innocent 2-cost unit. And it finds another 2-cost unit, and it finds another 2-cost unit, and then it finds a Destinata. Oh my god, that is a finisher card right there. Usually you only see it in a darkness deck. You don't even see it in some darkness decks. I love the amount of just chaos generated here. Between Loping Telescope and cards like Tri-Beam and Probulator, we have a very, very nice amount of chaos.
Hey, What Am I goes for a swing. He just trades the Fleet Feather into the 3-1 Fearsome. Just going to be setting up to play the Destinata, get the value that he can. But that's a Scion off the top for Artefy.
Scion or Rally. Goodness me, that is...
His Destinata. Darkness is available, but Artefy can just swing before having to wait for that to come through and clear any of his board. He still has a way to discard and set up survival skills, but he does probably want the Scion to die, considering just a raw survival skills to keep everything alive against this darkness.
I don't think that that's a bad idea, because you get to block, stay alive again against the darkness, and remove their units. You're also stopping them from swinging in if they do have a rally, and we know that What Am I does have a rally.
What Am I has the rally, but it doesn't quite do anything for What Am I yet. The problem being that there's just too much gunk on the board. If he can find a way through with this darkness, there is an opportunity. He only has to get 5 damage in. That's theoretically just 2 of these units, right? In order to find that victory. But their survival skills from Artefy can shut that down. What Am I does not have an answer to this immediately, and he will have to block a certain amount of this.
Survival skills, we're gonna keep those healths healthy. You're seeing the mark appear here. I will survive. I will not be forced off of this battle. And now Destinata, still ready with that darkness, and we actually just saw a pass back.
Okay, there's the pulls. You can let the Scion through, but it will set you up to lose to a Decimate. We know there's one in hand for Artefy. What Am I knows there's a lot of burn in this deck. He can't afford to go down to 3. He dies to too many things. He would die to Fervor. He would die to Get Excited. He would die to Decimate. Trying to stay at 5. He knows that's a bit safer. Plays around exactly 1 burn spell, which is all he can do. That's the best he can do, is play around 1 burn spell.
Considering
He's
the
gonna do
amount
that.
of draw for Artefy, it is absolutely the right move to play around Decimate. There are 2 of them in the deck. The chances of 1 showing up are pretty high, and What Am I knows it.
Yordle Smith is probably not enough. We see the Shen emotes.
And he was
Just not
paying
gonna cut it.
respect.
What Am I's going to surrender? He knows there's no way to win that from that position. He's dead as soon as that turn is over. Game 1 going to go to Artefy.
So Artefy looking good. So now, because you have already won with this Scion discard, can't be played again. Artefy is now going to move on to a little bit of Ping City.
Yeah, Ping City. We'll see if What Am I just queues up Vandal Beatdown once again. He does
Do you have
have
a preference for
Poppy still.
matchup here? If you were in What Am I shoes, which of your 2 remaining decks would you play up against the Bandle Ping City?
I'm of the school of thought that when you're in this situation, it does not matter what you queue up next, because you have to win with both anyway. All right, you got to beat this deck twice. I think I do like just Draven Scion in general in its matchup tables. It's really consistent, so if you are just looking to tie it up 1-1, I would like to go there, but overall, I don't mind playing just the deck you just practiced on. Continue to keep that momentum going, and Ranger's Resolve lines up really well into a lot of pings that are being played. Seeing as how that 1 damage ping is not going to do anything at all against a Ranger's Resolve.
A nice start. Always feels good to have a 1-drop on 1.
Artefy.
And a 2-drop on 2 here to Stone Stackers. This, by the way, Stone Stackers feels like new tech. People really slept on this card.
Oh, people, I think, slept on impact a little bit in general as a keyword, and that's why Stone Stackers is starting to get a little bit more popularity, just because it is, 2 mana, 2/2 tough. It's a little bit hard to remove, and it does have that impact keyword to help you push that additional damage. This deck wants to be dealing a lot of damage. It's running double ups. It's running ways to deal a lot of phase, so continuing to ping people away, why it's Ping City, with those impacts is going to be important. And this is a pretty quick start from Artefy with that 1 and 2. Not having a play for 3 kind of sucks, but he does have spells, so banking the mana is not going to be too bad.
Tough choice to make here. You've got the big, the small, and the wide. And it looks like the mayor has chosen the smallest of units, a tiny Poro who will make an impact on this board.
Yeah.
And I fully understand this. WhatAmI has the opportunity to go very wide. And once this board is wide enough, Poppy can swing in for a lot.
Yep, you hit that perfectly. I think the Poro is an excellent choice because you have this Poppy in hand. So you're going to be able to set her up with a bunch of these cheap units and buff them up, make them stronger, take control of the board that way. WhatAmI definitely wants to get ahead on. Oh yeah, it is free. You don't have to pay any mana. Free
Bandle
Poro.
City Mayor, actually OP. Probably the best card of the expansion. Don't
It's
at
up
me.
there. It's up. No, I don't even think that's that hot of a take. I think a lot of people are really high on Bandle City Mayor right now. I think everybody really thinks this card is great, and I think WhatAmI just needs to start getting aggressive as soon as he can with this Poppy before Artefy is able to chip too much damage in. Be careful once we get to these later turns when Gangplank can hit the board. You got to be watching out for the double ups. Being able to hold on to defensive combat tricks to deal with double up is pretty important when playing against Ping City, because that is a way that you can take an insane amount of damage to your Nexus.
So WhatAmI opting to get the Lulu down on this turn. Wants to protect the Poppy. I think that this is a bit of a sacrifice play, knowing that Artefy's pings are also very functional as removal. This is a way of saying, my Lulu can die, my Poppy can't.
Yep, a lot of poison darts being generated by the Lecturing Yordle, looking for even more pings onto WhatAmI's Nexus. The Lulu just going to go for a block on to the Stone Stackers, trying to deal with this impact unit. Can go for the chump block as well. You can't really afford to take too much damage. WhatAmI does have a very cheap hand, so he can set up to still refill this board. That's part of the beauty of that Poro being free. Just something that you can continue to play out. Continue to go wide to set up for this Poppy play, this Poppy attack on turn 5. Artefy just deciding on the pings, wants to probably go for the Lulu. I don't know if he's worried about Ranger's Resolve. It feels kind of okay to be able to just ping here, and if Ranger's Resolve comes out, you're not too sad about it, because it's only getting value against a couple pings instead of getting value against a wide board attack and pings. I don't mind going face.
I don't mind it at all. This is the sort of deck that really does build up damage through those 1 damage hits. And it looks like we are going to see the Poison Dart on Lulu. And of course, we see that Ranger's Resolve. We know it's there. But will it be used here? Or do you sacrifice your Lulu?
The big question for WhatAmI, I think he's considering it too. He's trying to figure out if it's more worth to Ranger's Resolve now to save the Lulu, or if it's
Or do
more
it
worth
next
to
turn
hold
for a
on to
really
it for
good
next
swing.
turn on the wide swing. And
And it
besides that,
looks
saving the
like
Lulu is better.
Ranger's Resolve. Lulu's a tough girl. And now we're seeing the second poison dart go into the Nexus. Mushrooms in the deck. Time to build up the word go wide. We're not seeing the Poro come out.
Well, Nijis, Zarali for next turn. Set up a big swing here with Poppy. Get that buff up and then set up the Aegis to go on the following turn. There's a lot of power.
Do you
Gonna
think
start
that
to
we're
go.
going to see a little bit of poking happening right here? Pokey stick.
Some Pokey Sticks. Well, we do
Pokey
have the
stick.
barrel as well, but you might want a Pokey Stick before this attack
She's going to
comes
be
in.
too big.
Yeah.
Lulu's going to be a 4-2 once Poppy attacks in. And none of the cards in Artefy's hand kill Poppy immediately.
Yeah. The problem is you really want to go for the barrel plus the Make It Rain. The other option here, and we see Artefy hovering it, is to go for a gold card. Stop
the
this
Poppy
Poppy
from
in her
swinging in.
tracks.
So-
I do like it. I do like this line.
It also lets you kill the Poppy after, or just like kind of roll them bones, make it rain, and hope that it hits both Lulu and Poppy.
Whoa. Looks like we're getting a bit of a visual bug.
Yeah.
Twisted Fate sitting in the
where's
hand, but the gold
Twisted
card
Fate?
went
Hey,
on to the Poppy.
TF? You know what? TF, I'm pretty sure he's got a little bit of a gambling problem. Maybe he sauntered off to a bar to engage in a nice game of poker or something and didn't show up on the battlefield. But we know he's there. He's probably hiding under a yordle.
Yeah, it seems to be the case. As we do have that gold card connecting onto the Poppy. I do love this play from Artefy. It's tough because you need to stop that, but the problem with the TF is it doesn't protect you against the board too heavily. Make It Rain being considered, potential to kill the Poppy, ping away the barrier on Lulu so you can still trade her down. Does feel really good if you can actually get the barrel out before casting that to try and ping off like the Mayor or the Commandos. It's not going to be a huge damage swing on this turn necessarily. It's probably going to be around 5 damage coming through.
It's
Into
still quite a
Artefy.
bit.
He's gonna go more.
Oh,
Okay.
I love this. Going for the buff on the Mayor, not on the elusive, saying, well, I'm just gonna get as much damage through as I can and make your blockers as ineffective as possible. So
There we go.
we're
Hi,
going
TF.
to see this chemist in front of the Bite Protector. Oh no! Oh, TF showed up. Hey TF.
Just in time. Just in time. He showed up.
Just
Try
in
and
time.
save the day. Find some blocks. No, I'm with you though. I really like the Mayor buff. Just play for board integrity. You have a rally to set up on the next turn. You need to just keep as many units alive as possible, but you also want to put on the pressure. Sending the Mayor, you're like, okay, Artefy, if you want to block this, I'll take the value trade. And if you don't, I'm going to get more damage in. And that's exactly what he gets. He gets these hungry owl cats so he can refill
Those are
the
some
board.
hungry owl cats. And those
super
owl
nice with the
cats
Poppy.
have a little special something going on in this matchup called Spell Shield, which means that if they get Make It Rain, they don't die. They're just like, whoop.
Yeah, they're
Missed
targets that
that.
just eat up the hits from the Make It Rain. They make the spell a lot worse, and we'll see. Yeah, there we go.
Ooh,
Hungry Owl Cat
it
eats one
is
up.
Unlucky right there. Sometimes Make It Rain, it's a scatter shot, and sometimes you have really bad aim.
Yeah, it's not terrible hits overall for Artefy. He does still get to clear away 2 targets. Because of that barrel, there was pretty much nothing bad to hit except the Owl Cat, so it is rough for him to hit that, but overall being able to still clear off 2 units is impactful. What am I picking up that Tenor of Terror though is quite big. It's a good way to be able to refill this board when needed. Pretty much at command, you get 2 units coming down to set up for your Poppy. And the fact that this first Poppy is okay to die because you have a second one is so incredibly nice for What Am I in this situation, trying to set up a big swing with this rally when the timing is right.
So I think we're going to see Lulu giving up her life here. R.I.P. Lulu. I feel like Lulu has just been in peril a lot today. This morning, we woke up and we saw Lulu go on a horrible adventure.
Yeah, she's having a tough time traveling through the Bandlewood right now, continuing to run into angry Yordles, trying to lecture her. You know, Twisted Fate, gambling, and just losing his cards everywhere. She's having a rough go of it. Pokey sticks left and right. It's a tough time.
There goes that first Poppy. But with the backup Poppy, nothing to worry about. And Artefy on 3 mana without another piece to remove. Now, an Owlcat or the Poro could get pokey sticked. Looks like the priority is making sure that WhatAmIXX cannot have a lethal rally swing next turn. Oh, look at that! Pokey stick off pokey stick.
Yeah, finding more potential removal. Another double up. A lot of damage that can go to face, but it's not hitting as many targets as you would want right now. Poppy open attack. Going to give some nice buffs. There's still potential for removal. Drop the Poppy to 2 health. Set up for a double up. Pray that there is no defensive. Or what am I?
WhatAmIXX currently working off slow speed spells in hand and a couple of nice units. Not able to dodge the double up.
Not able to dodge the double up, but can play Hungry Owlcat, Telescope, and Golden Aegis on this turn. And double up is a big mana expenditure. WhatAmIXX might be able to just sneak in for the win if the double up is the cast. So only 5 damage needed to punch through, and you can put 4 more power to add to your 5 power that you already have on board. It is just going to be the Lecturing Yordle.
Lecturing Yordle does bring Artefy outside of double up range. Only 1 single damage that can be spread across things with a second from the pokey stick. But one of these is slow and one of these is fast, which means that the rally is gonna happen.
Well,
Here comes the Aegis.
It comes through, and it also protects Poppy because one of them is slow, as you pointed out. This barrier is going to arrive on Poppy. The attack is going to be able to come through. Poppy is safe, going to be able to buff up everything else on the board. Artefy is going to try and cull this a little bit with the pokey stick plus the dart onto the Hungry Owlcat. There's the third double up. Not going to be helping at all.
Oh, but taking out one Owlcat doesn't feel that good when there's another one in hand. We already know about that one. It was already generated. And a Loping Telescope.
Yeah, has the loping. It's all going to be enough. WhatAmIXX going to tie this series up. There's only one blocker. The buff's coming through. WhatAmIXX going to even it and bring it to a Draven Scion versus Ping City matchup to close this out. And WhatAmIXX has talked up Draven Scion so much. He has a lot of confidence in that list. He feels really good on it. He can't be feeling bad going into a match point with Draven Scion as his pick.
It's 1-on-1, and there's the Bandle City Beat taking the win. And now it looks like we're going to see WhatAmIXX's final deck, which is Draven Scion Discard.
Yeah, he's got the discard list. Gonna have to deal with the pings, but the deck in general has an okay time against the pings overall. You do lose out on things like Zonite Urchin, Boom Baboon, are a fair bit of 1 health targets. Draven's biggest fan also included, so a lot of the early game can be rough for WhatAmIXX, but he can mull and play a more mid-range style, looking for Dravens, Fallen Riders, some Dredgers, looking to play that more mid-range. Fallen Rider with the Poro Cannon is pretty nice to set up. Poro Cannon, of course, bad against the pings, but you can use it to have a turn 1 play into a turn 2 play that is quite strong. WhatAmIXX not having a bad opener whatsoever.
So WhatAmIXX has talked before about some of his deck building philosophy. He includes a lot of one-ups to keep his opponents on their toes and force them to play around the possibility. Whirling Death, Reborn Grenadier. These are tricks. These are combat tricks, essentially. Scorched Earth, this removal, survival skills as well. You have to think your opponent has it, because you might lose if you don't play around it.
Yeah, WhatAmIXX always loving that. He used to play one of Battle Furies in his Endurer list. He used to play one of Farron in his discard aggro. Would just throw it away if he ever found it before turn 8. Always been big on the one-ofs.
Oh, something kind of nice about Farron is nowadays if you have it in hand and you want to throw it away, Your opponent will do it for you with Aloof Travelers.
That's true. Yeah. Just get rid of it for you. And also get rid of your lost soul for you and give you the bonus. So it's pretty nice.
It doesn't even affect their hand. It's like, oh, I was going to discard that anyway. Thank you, opponent. What a nice maneuver you've just made. And here comes a Fallen Rider.
Yeah, Rider gonna be able to push past. Nothing to block Fearsome, but Whatami has to be a bit worried about the pings now. Fallen Rider, notably at 2 health. We're gonna see the pull onto the keg with the Poro, just trying to force the hand of Artefy, and we do see the Pokey Stick gonna go out. Whatami can protect this with the Mystic Shot if he does deem the Fearsome worthy, and that damage to face worthy. He is just gonna let it go. Holding onto the Mystic as removal, or later on can play the mid-range.
Risen Rider rose and died very quickly there, but the wee little Poro did get to live out its dreams of killing a barrel.
Boom Baboon plus another Poro potentially. Whatami has the Sump Dredger. Play off of this Flame Chompers as well. Whatami still in a very good mid-range position, and the Aloof Travelers being able to hit the top end of this deck, which is just going to be that Gangplank, is so huge for Whatami if he can just get rid of that card. That champion is such a big win condition. If Whatami can discard any Gangplanks and continue to just play for the board, eventually Scion will win this game for Whatami. He just has to deal with the major threats from Artefy, not let too much damage go through to his face. And so far, this hand is looking pretty solid for Whatami to do just that.
And I feel like right now is the right time to play this Aloof Travelers. You get it out right now, the turn before they could play their Gangplank. So they can't just open a turn, play the Gangplank before you can make them discard it.
Yeah, it is before turn 5. You do expect that Artefy does want to look for it.
Make them draw it.
Red card potentially here just to deal with the board. TF going back to the bench again. Does not want to stay on the board today, Amy. Not at all.
What is with this Twisted Fate? Twisted Fate has, so far today, just taken a stroll. But there he is. He showed up. He said, I threw my card. Here I am. This time he's not hiding under a Yordle.
Sump Dredgers instead to go for a potential block. Aloof can still be played first action for Whatami on turn 5. If he doesn't, I expect Artefy to slam this GP. He has to be worried about Aloof. It is the top end of his deck. He wants this Gangplank on board. We'll see if Whatami first action plays Aloof on this turn 5. Try and get rid of a GP. He's not going to be able to get rid of both.
But our stuff did it.
Gets rid of one. But he's not going to get rid of both. Artefy might just jam the second one. He doesn't want to risk potentially losing all his Gangplanks. Losing one is bad enough. He doesn't play it. Whatami potentially has a punish, but Artefy will still have first action on the next turn to jam GP.
Does get the token next turn. Will get to play that Gangplank before anything else can happen, such as a second Aloof Travelers.
Okay, just going as wide as possible.
Look at how wide Artefy has just gone. And kind of looking to find an elusive blocker off of those Mirai Wardens. Ending up instead with a Fearsome, which is very often a 3-2 Fearsome. Actually, a very nice one-drop to get.
Attack first action. This Gangplank might just be forfeit. Whatami has the second Aloof. There's a lot of damage coming through, but it's not perilous yet for Whatami. He's still okay.
Even though there's a lot of fast speed damage, none of it is in hand. Artefy is actually currently sitting on just a board refill.
Okay, Whatami potentially just very worried about his HP. Doesn't even want to take 4. We see the Whirling Death being hovered. I can understand just protecting as much damage as possible. He doesn't know there's a second GP in hand, so the Aloof is just... It feels like the right play to us. We have both hands in vision, but Whatami just focused on making sure he doesn't lose too much HP. This is going to allow Artefy to develop this GP, though.
Artefy has to wait now to see what happens. There's not too many different moves for What Am I right now. Sitting on the double 7 drops, these Scions. Oh, and we're seeing the pass back. Here's the Chemist. And
Okay, not gonna go
Stone
GP.
Stacker's not going for GP.
Value's going wide. He knows he
Going
can
wide.
overwhelm. He can overwhelm the board. What Am I doesn't have a ton in hand. Has shown that he's not going wide himself. Artefy just continuing to value. Being as wide as possible, trying to push that damage. But we do see a Scion getting shuffled in. I think What Am I's looking for that Scion level for turn 7. Wanting to discard 1. A decent amount of damage, more Stone Stackers though.
Down here. When Artefy next gets to attack, he has a lot of power on this board.
Yeah, a lot of impact damage to get through, even through the blocks. And a double up draw is going to give even more potential face damage. Or it'll get discarded by Aloof and keep the Gangplank safe. Either way, I think Artefy's not too upset about that. Aloof Traveler's going to come down. Which one will it get?
What does it hit?
It's the double
hits
up.
The
Gangplank's still
double up.
there.
GP is safe. And GP has also a little bit of Make It Rain. So once this board has a bit more room on it, Artefy currently sitting at 6 units and a landmark, well, 5 and a landmark, can't really get the barrel.
Yeah, there's too much on board for the GP at this point. See him
but
Make
just
It Rain.
going for
Not
the
hitting
Make It
any of
Rain.
the targets. But
Oof,
face
that
is good. Face is good for Artefy. Because this
Base is
Gangplank's
good.
getting
It
so
triggers
close
the
to leveling.
Gangplank. Yep, I think that may be the second to last trigger for Gangplank.
Yeah.
So we're going to see Elusive and Overwhelm here, getting in unstoppable damage for What Am I? And there's a choice between blockers there. The tough units prevent more damage from going through on an Overwhelm unit, but they're also much more valuable as attackers because of that impact. Impact only works when you are attacking.
Ooh.
And there's Gangplank throwing a barrel into the ocean.
Yeah, you can't risk the third Aloof, but also the barrel, a little bit less important when your hand has no spells. Really, you just want to set up an open attack, try and prevent What Am I from having as much interaction as possible going into this turn. You just want that Gangplank level up to come through, and Artefy will be able to get it on the next turn. Gangplank is going to get that damage in. What Am I might be able to deal with the Gangplank, though, and then set up for a Scion, so it is a decent setup for What Am I in general. Throws away the Aloof now that he sees the Gangplank, just to get more on board, more defense.
And more go wide impact with the Tenor of Terror. But I think it's going to be Scion's time to shine soon.
Yeah, if this open attack didn't come through, Scion hits the board, trades with Gangplank. What Am I becomes very, very ahead. The attack, at least, is going to give the GP the level up. We do have the impact on the left side, so that Gangplank gets 1 more damage through. What Am I knows he's not going to be able to just finish this off with the Get Excited necessarily. Does the extra HP from leveling up. Unless I've done my math wrong on the triggers. I believe this is the last one. This way, you can actually
Being
remove.
a 6/6, gets a little bit more in. Doesn't change all too much here, but there will be a nice bit of refill on this board after. Artefy is going to definitely have some extended value from that impact. Yep, here is the GP level up from the impact.
Alright, What Am I can remove the Gangplank with the Get Excited. And he can try and just win the game with the Scion. I mean, he has it. It's
Yeah.
leveled up.
Play
He's
it.
in such a good
It's huge.
position.
It's huge, and if you kill it, you get to attack. Hello, Scion.
It's actually so good. He can just hold on to this Get Excited for potential burn damage to the face. He's got the open attack with the Scion. And try and stop a little bit, but Scion is going to get so much work done.
But only one
not
thing
quite
can
enough.
block the Scion. And it's almost the same thing hitting Scion's blocker if it has 3 or less health, which all of these do. with that Get Excited, so all of the Overwhelm just goes through to face. Hitting that Nexus. Let's see how it goes. So, what is... It's Draven!
Draven can set up a pretty board. You play the Draven, you can discard the Axe to either draw a card or get a unit with the Grave Physician.
It's Draven time. Yep, you have the choice between throwing that axe to just get anything or to get a unit specifically. Kind of up to what he wants to do. We're only in the first round here for this round robin, and it's already so tense. Artefy playing the final card from his hand. Another barrel thrown into the ocean. So sad.
Yeah, WhatAmIXX is going to need to go wide to protect himself from the crackback. He does have to get rid of this Gangplank at some point, either via the attack or via the damage. Wait, that's another Get Excited.
That's another Get Excited.
This might just be enough damage going through. WhatAmIXX, you see him fist bump already. I think he knows he's probably won. The Scion damage coming through.
Artefy doesn't have any way to heal up. This is
there's
a
no
burn
shot.
deck.
The 3 damage is as much as Artefy can block. That's still going to take 7. It puts him at 6. He's dead to double Get Excited. Jordan knows he's won. WhatAmIXX is going to get his first win of the World Championship, having to reverse sweep this after losing game 1.
Absolutely amazing right here. So WhatAmIXX just, feeling pretty good about the next turn. These being fast speed spells means you can't stop them. You can't even burn me out before I burn you, because whatever you do, I do this in response.
WhatAmIXX trying to bring home first game for the Americas, set the tone straight away. It looks like he'll be able to do it as soon as this block comes through. Artefy trying to calculate. He knows, he loses to double Get Excited. But also, the odds of that are not super high, right? He's not necessarily thinking that's going to be there. But WhatAmIXX, he's got
Here
it.
it goes.
He's got both. He's just going to send him upstairs.
They're on the stack. They're aiming for face. Artefy, what can you do? Nothing. Your hand is empty. There's not a single reaction you can take. And WhatAmIXX winning the first round for Group A.
I can't believe it. WhatAmIXX starting off strong in Group A, picking up the win over Artefy, the #1 seed from seasonal points from the Americas, showing up big.
That was a huge reverse sweep for WhatAmIXX, and especially knowing that he had the Draven Scion to close out that series. That's just so exciting. But, Casanova, what was it about how WhatAmIXX played that Draven Scion that really allowed him to take the win there?
Yeah, the big important thing for how he decided to mulligan and play throughout that game is he knows that Pink City has a lot of ways to deal 1 damage to his units. He was happy to kick away any of the low 1 drops and start to play for a more mid-range strategy, try and play anything that has 2 or more toughness, and use that to just play for the board, because he knows once he makes it to that turn 7, if he can get there with a good amount of HP, Scion will win the game for him. That is all he has to play for, is living to that Scion, and the best way to do it is to play for those beefier units that can make better trades, play for the board, and it worked out perfectly. He's able to pick up that win.
It was that, you got the Draven draw, and then you also had just that fantastic setup for the Scion. What about those Gangplanks, though, Amazonian? They seem to be in pretty good control for Artefy, but what kind of went wrong there?
I think what happened was the timing with those aloof travelers. Sure, you ended up dropping one, drawing another, but there was never a great window to play Gangplank, have the barrel, and then follow up with something really powerful like a Make It Rain. All the Make It Rains had to come out quickly to keep the board under control, to keep yourself alive long enough to really get that GP value. And because Gangplank was not leveled on turn 5, which is kind of the dream for this deck, it's what you really want to do. He was just a little bit too low power. He's smaller than Scion, and he dies to burn and blocking in this case.
Well, I'm sure WhatAmIXX is getting excited about being able to take that first win of the day. And we're going to go ahead and jump right into the second game. So, Casanova, we're going to say goodbye to you for now. And we're going to welcome in